Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a landmark episode of 5 Games, 5 Minutes, episode number 50. The instructions for Anarchy Zone say the following. You must, quote, journey through a strict travel formation in the zones of the Galactic Government Dictatorship and blast all Galactic Government sympathisers, unquote. That's rather a convoluted way of saying Space Invaders, but I sort of know what it means. Instead of just being a laser base at the bottom of the screen, you can encircle the entire playing area. What you immediately notice about Anarchy Zone is it's very optimised and it's a very colourful game. The sprites, although a little on the small side, are incredibly detailed. There's a constantly changing palette as you progress through the zones too. There's also a password feature so you can move to any zone you want. The baddies tend to move in a set pattern, and often there's sitting ducks for your bullets. They release the odd bullet too now and then, and one of the baddies sometimes peels off and pursues you. There's a certain amount of skill involved and everything's very smooth scrolling. But that said, after a few zones of blasting, the gameplay is so repetitive that you're likely to reach for a break rather than have a second go. Bug Eyes 2 is a sequel to the Icon Software game of the same name. But as sequels come, they don't get any more surprising than this. Where the original was a fairly simple linear plot and play game, Bug Eyes 2 is a graphic adventure. The familiar spaceman sprite, the bouncing bad guys, and even the blocks that form the walls, bridges and conveyors are exactly the same as the original. Also, like in the original, there's no jumping or firing. The whole game must be played simply by walking left and right, and letting conveyors, or falling, do the rest. Other than that though, the whole game structure is radically different. You've got free run of the spaceship, and you must work out the best route to visit all the rooms. The graphics, now ported to Mode 5, take on a very cartoon-like quality, and little animations dropping your spaceman into one of Sir Clive's ill-fated C5s heighten these aesthetics. You've got 5 lives and you're on a quest to find 25 keys in hard-to-reach places. It's actually a bit too easy to achieve this, but it's such a great-looking product, but that's only a minor quibble. I'm more than happy to recommend Dodgy Geezers as one of the best text adventure games ever written, but with one recommendation. Make sure you understand Cockney rhyming slang before you begin. What we've got here is the planning, execution and getaway from a large-scale bank robbery. But it's more than that. You get to choose your own gang from the Dodgy Geezers the adventure presents, and you get to give the orders as to how to carry it out. If it were a film, it would be a slow burner. It's in 2 parts, and it does take a fair while to get going. It's from the Lever Brothers, who also wrote Hampstead and Terra Melinas. A great feature is that there's something of an arc between all 3. The only bugbear is the waiting around in some locations, but the game more than makes up for this if you can pull off the robbery and reach the fantastic endgame sequence. The narrative is incredibly engaging. In fact, this game could change the way you think about interactive fiction. Five-a-Side Soccer, or Star Soccer as it calls itself, came out in 1983. It's a 2-player only game with perhaps the simplest of rules. Each player moves a diamond shape of 4 players and their goalkeeper up and down. The players all stay completely equidistant from each other, and left to right moves the entire team, not just a single player. The ball, when you kick it, flies air hockey style all around the screen until it collides either with the goal or with any player on the pitch. You can kick up or down, each at a 45-degree angle. Now this game was released by IJK, who produced a whole host of stinkers. But Five-a-Side Soccer doesn't pretend to be anything more than it is, and assuming you can get a friend to control the opposing team, it's actually quite addictive. Surely not, I hear you cry. Surely it's getting the buzzer. No, it's not. It's very silly, and so far removed from a real soccer match that the title seems a travesty. But for some reason, it works well as a game format. Steve Davis Snooker is one of a rare handful of games on the Electron that was celebrity endorsed. However, Mr. Davis might want to have a word with his PR people, because the game comes nowhere close to demonstrating his famous complete breaks and clearances. Instead, the game is laughable in its attempts to emulate a genuine snooker table. You play by aiming across, then setting spin and power. The trouble is that the power seems to range between high to superhuman power. When you aim for one ball and end up with every single ball on the table rolling around, you know something's very wrong with this simulation. Despite being only about a tenth as good as Orlando's 3D pool, the celebrity endorsement did pay off. It shifted thousands of copies and was released 3 times, including by Superior Acorn Soft. I suppose that tells its own story. With enough practice, you may be able to develop a strategy to play and win, however. And seeing as the computerised Mr. Davis seems to be as hopeless at the game as the average player, you should stand a fair chance.